Right. Okay. So I thought I'd just finish off really just by, hang on, let's have a glass of water. Stressful doing prize draws. I've never done one before. Just want to tell you a little bit about why coaching, why should, not should, goodness, why is it helpful for children to have coaching? Why is there a need? Because I think some people find it perhaps a little strange that children would have any sort of therapy or coaching, but actually now of all times there is a great need, and I do hear the people I do hear from really struggling with children with anxiety, and some of that anxiety is actually translating into eating problems, toilet problems, a lot of sleeping problems, also low self-esteem issues at school. It's as if all the problems that children have has just been like sort of made bigger. It's really much greater now with the pandemic. And some of that is, of course, because we as parents are also anxious. I know, and Jess is probably there saying, yes, yes, mummy, you are. Because it's like we just don't know. There's so many sort of rumors, so much anxiety that we're picking up around us, unsure what we can and can't do, knowing what we want to do, but not being able to do it. I've got a mum who's 93, coming up 94, down in Brighton. You know, she's not vulnerable in the sort of formal way, but she's definitely somebody who is struggling to be on her own, and you don't want to be going down to see her to make her happy, but yet perhaps inadvertently passing something on. And I know there are lots of families like that. So just at the moment, particularly, one of the ways that coaching can help, I thought of sort of 7 of them actually. I started and then I kept going. Um, we're suffering from a lot of overwhelm and stress at the moment. And one of the things that we can use NLP and EFT for is to really to pick apart that stress and that overwhelm. In NLP terms, what we actually do is what's called chunking down. So imagine the overwhelms like this. It's just like all this stuff at school, all this work, all this family stuff. It can feel like a great big sort of cloud, can't it? Sort of like a rain cloud. You're never quite sure when you're going to get rained on. And so with NLP, what we can do is we sort of chunk down, we take it apart, we pick it apart little by little and take it down to, okay, so what's like the first step that I can do? And that might be about self-care. It might be about just doing what you can, and making the most of whatever you can do. The EFT approach would actually be to tap, and we did this with Tappy Joe, and you've seen me tap a lot. And we do a basic even though type of tap. Even though I'm struggling right now, even though I'm really find it difficult to cope, I love and accept myself anyway. For a child, it would be, even though I'm just struggling at school, even though I'm finding it hard, even though I don't know what's going to happen about my exams. I've had quite a lot of teenagers lately, a lot. I love and accept myself anyway. And so we can then tap through the finger points. We can just tap the reminder phrase. There's loads of stuff on my website about tapping. There's loads of illustrations. There's loads of video. I think I've just shared my YouTube channel, and you could drown in videos of me tapping on various things like sleep, anxiety, and so on. Loads of examples. And if you do want a hand with anything that's like specific to your child, just get in touch, because it really doesn't take very long to take you through it on a quick WhatsApp type of call. The second reason that coaching can help is to identify sorry, I'm still tapping here, to identify what's important. Because again, part of the overwhelm is just not knowing what's important in the moment, what's important to do right now, what's important to be, and just prioritizing things. Because sometimes we can get lost in distraction therapy, tidying the house, decluttering, loads of people decluttering. You know, what's actually important right now, to think about that. The next thing's really about identifying the skills that you have to achieve, to be who you want to be, what you want to do. And I find that despite the fact that we have an education system that covers all the subjects, it's not terribly good actually at helping children identify the sort of softer skills. They might know they're good at maths, they're good at grammar, they're good at spelling, they're good at history dates, they're good at science experiments. But do they actually know how good they are at those softer skills of kindness, empathy, listening, understanding, supporting, being, holding the space? So, you know, identifying the skills is a really important thing for children to know that they can do and to feel good about themselves. The fourth thing is, well, actually I've squeezed two into one there. I've sort of put them together, like confidence and resilience. It's about, confidence is really about being able to be fully present in the moment, to be able to express our needs, to be able to say what we feel, what we need right now. Again, I find children really, that I think that, you know, we're bringing children up really, really well to consider other people's needs and to sort of, you know, think about grandma, granddad, think about us, think about each other, think about your friends, etc. But actually, are we encouraging them to think about their own needs? You know, they need to be able to express their own needs, being able to say, I need a hug. I need you to listen for a moment. I need you to stop what you're doing. I need you to reassure me. I need you to whatever, to express those needs. Because what happens when those needs aren't met is that, you know, we've talked about the drama triangle. When needs aren't met, children will go from feeling like I can't cope, I feel helpless, to move into persecutor, and you soon get sort of sort of a tantrum, you know, but just anger and frustration, because actually all they need you to do is listen. And this is what I mean about priorities, is we can so easily find ourselves doing what we feel needs to be done rather than being who we need to be for our children. So confidence and resilience, it's about sort of being confident in ourselves to be able to express what we need right now, and to be resilient to those sort of times when things don't quite go our way and we're feeling like we're struggling a bit. The next one is about finding your winning mindset. You know, we in NLP, there's like sort of models of excellence, beliefs of excellence. It's when we are at our best, when we're doing our best, being our best self. I'm not sure that I particularly like that sort of expression, you know, be your best self, but can't actually think of another one. But it's like, what's your winning mindset when things are going well? You know, is it, you know, what's the belief in that moment when things are going well? Because that's something we then need to take into other areas of our life. Another reason why we might want some coaching, why we want some help at any time, and we all do, I mean, goodness, I certainly have done, is about understanding yourself better, accepting yourself and loving yourself. I work with a lot of mums who really, they may understand themselves quite well, but they may not necessarily accept themselves. They're very self-critical. You know, we've all been through such a hell of a lot, you know, this year. You know, we've found things difficult, we've struggled, we've lost patience, we've shouted, we've been upset. You know, it's about accepting that you know, we can't be perfect. Goodness, as mums, we'd like to be perfect, wouldn't we? As parents, we'd like to be perfect. We'd like to be that model of excellence for our children, and we fail. So what do we do when we fail? Do we get really annoyed with ourselves? Do we go have a glass of wine, a cake, have a chat with a friend? The sort of usual points of reference aren't necessarily there. Our friends aren't as available as they may be normally, because we can only meet one-on-one. It has to be in public place. We are very restricted. And we have other responsibilities. And also sometimes I think what happens is we give ourselves such a sort of impossible brief for the job of parent, where you can't fail. You've got to be the one that's coping. You've got to be the one who can fix things, the one who can sort things out. But that just isn't possible, because we aren't perfect and things are difficult. So coaching can help us just acknowledge all these parts of us and understand ourselves better and accept ourselves for who we are. And lastly, I think it can give a really good overall sort of boost to our sort of well-being, to our sense of well-being, and feeling good, and just feeling good about ourselves. Even though as I look in the picture here, I can see I've managed to get, this is where I need Jess really, is I've managed to get mascara all over my face, that she's fairly typical. And I do this quite often. I'm not terribly good in the sort of that department. I'd like to say I would improve, but it's not likely to happen, is it? It's about, and that's about acknowledging our failings, acknowledging that some things we just aren't good at. And unless we can do that, how do our children learn? If we want to come across as perfect and getting it all right, how do we teach them how to fail? Because they need to know. They need to know from us. They need to. They need to know. Just seeing Jess's little laughing face there. Yes, she does normally come up to me and sort these things out. I have had to try to have my lashes dyed, but they don't last very long. This is the problem with being a blondie, is that you don't have very pronounced, nice, lovely eyelashes like you brown-haired girls have, and lovely eyebrows and eyelashes. I really envy you. So yes, how do we teach our children how to fail? How do we show them that actually we get it wrong sometimes, often actually, and that we learn from that? We learn from our mistakes. We say, oh right, okay, that happened. Okay, but this went well. And one of the ways that I teach this to children is to do the feedback sandwich, which a lot of NLP people, Jane, yeah, hear you, yes. A lot of NLPers don't like the feedback sandwich, but actually kids love it. They're familiar with it at school, but also the thing is that it starts and ends on a good note. So as you're lying in bed, as your child's lying in bed, just to think about what's gone well today. What's gone well? How it's been a good day? How good has it been? Just, think about all the good things that have been. Then, okay, so what could have been better? What could I have done more of? What could I have, what would have been, should I have done less of? And what's the learning there? And what will I do? How will it go tomorrow? It's been a good day. Starting and ending on a good day is really good. I've also been working with, as I said, a lot of teenagers, really introducing them to using mindfulness, and also to use affirmations in the morning. I'm amazing, I'm great, I'm going to have a great day. Teenagers, and I think we've read this in the press, haven't we? Teenagers are really struggling at the moment, really struggling. Whereas I'd say normally, perhaps across sort of, who I see, my client base, I'd say it's probably been about 50-50 sort of kids, teenagers, mums. Now I'd say it's 50% teenagers, and then the other 50% is perhaps being split between mums and children. So a lot of teenagers, particularly I'd say sort of 13 to 16, Yeah, 13 to 16, loads of 12, 13, 14 particularly, loads. And the other sort of group I'm getting really are the sort of year sevens. There's a lot of year sevens who perhaps were just starting to make friends. And then, of course, you know, as they're sort of building new friendships, then we have lockdown and there's still a bit of a link to the old friends. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, I'm wittering away, which is another thing I can do given half the chance. I'm going to finish in a moment. I just want to say, though, I've talked a bit about coaching, I've talked about NLP, and obviously EFT is fabulous for calming us down, for just to helping us settle, helping us calm down and feel okay. The other thing, though, is I've got training courses. I hope you'll permit me to do a little bit of a mention about my training courses. I have a live one-to-one training course on Zoom, which is organised at a time to suit you and as many modules as you want to do at any time. So some are actually doing it in maternity leave. I've got a preschool parents live training course that's specifically geared to those of you who've got preschoolers, sort of setting them up with some really great beliefs of excellence, really, and way of talking. I mean, NLP is a lot about the language pattern and using towards language, and also a bit of hypnotic embedded commands there for eating the old veggies and stuff. So as a preschool parents course, there's a live training for the NLP and EFT kids practitioner training, which is a business course for you to actually be able to run your own business doing that. And there's a version of it which is much cheaper, which is a course that you download module by module, but check in with me. So I call it a less live course. It's not completely downloadable, and there's still stuff that you get connected with me to do. But that's more appropriate if you're already a coach or a trainer, you're already experienced with coaching or working with children, but want that added additional NLP, EFT, art therapy sort of aspect to it. So I'm going to wrap up now. So coaching, training, and do remember language pattern. Talk about what you do want, not don't forget, which is a really good way to get people to forget things. So remember, here's my book. You can buy it from my website, which is nlpfamily.com. You can buy it from there, and that's £15, and it's signed and shipped to you for that. You can buy it off Amazon, of course, which I think is £11.99. You can also buy it from the Book Depository, which offers free shipping. And of course, your local bookshop definitely needs to be supported. So please support them. Or there's bookshop.org, which is another way of supporting local bookshops. Is there another way? I think, no, I think those are probably the main ways you can buy my book. So on that note, I'm going to go and have a little glass of bubbly and celebrate Book Launch Day. So thank you for listening and enjoy the day yourselves, and do get in touch with me to have a chat whenever you want to. I'm always available for chats. Okay, bye then.